Now, Late Night Live with Niall Boylan.
On the home of the 80s and 90s, Ireland's classic hits.
So, we were talking about a topic last night about a guy who had bought an Oculus headset for himself for 300 quid without telling his missus.
A viewer headset,
But
yes.
that was all well and good on the radio. That sounded great on the radio. But on social media, you put a summary. A man went out and bought a device without telling his wife. And everybody immediately came to the conclusion that, because of course we all have dirty minds, that he had bought some sort of sexual device.
You thought the same thing because the word toy was in his email. And you thought the same thing. So when you said toy...
At least I was on the radio to tell people it wasn't what they were thinking it was.
That's what I mean. So when you said toy, I went, what? I went, oh, I need to change my tweet. I can't use the word toy. I'm restricted by word count on Twitter. I'll go for device.
So, on the back of that, we get an email today from a guy who said, I was looking at your social media about the guy who bought a device without his wife knowing, and it touched a nerve with me.
Oh, God.
All right? So he goes on, I'll read out the whole email later on, but he goes out basically to say that he was wallpaper in the bedroom, and he had to move the lockers, the bedside lockers. They were too heavy to lift. He was on his own, and he decided to empty out the drawers. And he emptied out his wife's drawers.
That's dangerous.
And he found a large dildo and a vibrator. And he's now disgusted. Because he said he only gets it at Christmas, birthdays, and one other time of the year, maybe. Father's Day, probably, or something. And his wife eventually admitted to him that she uses it almost every day when she has her shower. And now he feels like this is almost like cheating. This is terrible. What are you laughing at? So, I mean, he said
Sorry, I got an image. That's why I'm just...
He said she constantly turns me down, but it seems in her own words, she has needs and she finds these a great form of relief for her sexual frustration. And when I pushed her to answer, she reluctantly said she used them most days after her shower when she went to bed early. So he feels a little bit hard done by now.
I mean, that's fair enough. If she's admitting she has sexual frustration, apparently he's not good enough.
He's also threatened by the size of it, by the way. And he says, while we're speaking about this, I'm also pissed off. But imagine if she came home and found me on top of a sex doll. I'm sure she'd throw me out.
There's so many images. Oh my God.
What would you do if you came home and found Dan bouncing around on some inflatable sex doll? I'm in the mood for love.
I think I just slowly back out of the room and never come back in.
Anyway, the question we are going to be
how big it
asking is, but he's basically saying, you know, I think if you're married, you shouldn't be using these things as you have a husband or a partner, particularly if you're using it behind your husband's back.
Does he say how big the dildo is? That's what we all want.
He used the words. He used the words very, very big.
Okay, right.
So maybe he feels a little bit inadequate now.
Obviously so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with toys as long as your partner knows about them.
And you could use them as a couple.
I was going to say, and you use them together sometimes. I don't think you have to use them together all the time. I'm sure he plays with himself.
He doesn't mention that.
No, of course he doesn't. Of course he doesn't. But I'm sure he does. If he's only getting it 3 times a year, I'm sure he plays with
He's
himself.
only getting it 3 times a year.
That's what he said.
Birthdays, Christmas. What else did he say? Birthdays, Christmas, and something else he said.
Maybe once other time.
Yeah, that was it. Something along those lines, yeah.
So, like, I'm sure maybe would he have been okay with it if she told him? Also, probably not by the sounds of things. But
No.
she probably should have been a little bit more upfront about her.
I think there's some problem in the relationship there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's not getting it and she's, you know,
Playing with the toys every day.
yeah, and hasn't told him.
No, that's
But
not
we'll
right.
get around to talking about that later on. Is there anything actually wrong with her, or is he just being paranoid? Now, in the meantime, thank you, Ruth. I'll come back to you shortly. Hi, Niall. I'm extremely sleep deprived, so I hope this email makes some sense. Myself and my partner have a 5-month-old baby. Okay. It's 5 months. It's not really a little baby, is it? Anyway, I'm currently on maternity leave. My partner thinks I should clean more in the house and keep it tidy since I'm home all day long. I find this extremely difficult. My baby doesn't sleep well at all during the day. Never has. He sleeps maybe for a half an hour at a time. Well, I suppose you could hoover up in a half an hour. Anyway, at a time. And then wakes up. He's extremely clingy and doesn't like it when I leave him in the playpen. I need to play with him, and sometimes I can sit on the sofa and watch him play. But then I need to supervise him and can't clean. When he's finally sleeping, I don't feel like cleaning. I feel like I need to breathe and sit down and have a cup of tea and relax. My partner says he could have the baby and clean at the same time and do stuff around the house. He has never been one day without me, though, since he was born. I also noticed with him, it doesn't bother him to do something else while our baby cries. Case in point, I went out to a restaurant with my friend the other day and asked him to look after our son while I was out. When I came home, he was in the middle of installing a baby gate, which I appreciate, while our son was crying in his playpen. Well, sometimes you have to kind of let them cry a little bit. If you keep running to them every time they cry, I suppose they're going to keep crying, aren't they? Anyway, if it had been me, I would have had to pick up our baby, and I can't work while the baby is crying. Jeez, this baby's doing an awful lot of crying. I had a discussion with him many times, but he thinks I'm just being lazy. Am I unreasonable to think he's being massively unfair and doesn't understand the reality of being with a baby all day long? Now, I don't want to restrict this conversation just to a girl having on maternity leave. I suppose what we're talking about is stay-at-home parents. And I don't want to make this sexist, but if it's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter who's staying at home. If one person is out working, is it the responsibility of the other person then to do the housework? Have the dinner ready, do the hoovering, clean up. Is that fair? Because I suppose your title is homemaker, isn't it? Though that's the kind of title. Years ago it used to be housewife, but now it's called homemaker because it's gender neutral. So that's your kind of title, isn't it? You know what I mean? I know, Ruth is saying in my ear here, there's a very big difference between maternity leave and a stay-at-home parent. Well, not really, Ruth. She's on maternity leave, so but she's staying at home with a baby. Yeah, okay, I know, Ruth. Jesus Christ, you just can't get producers to mind their own business nowadays. Anyway, the point is, she's on maternity leave at the moment. The baby's 5 months old. It's not 3 weeks old. It's not a month old. It's not 3 months old. It's 5 months old. It's nearly at the point where it's going to say, ma'am. It's nearly at the point where it'll be going to work itself. Look, the point I'm making is, if you're a stay-at-home parent, or if you're a woman on maternity leave, and, the baby's 5 months old, I mean, realistically, is it fair to say, well, I don't have time to do anything else? Now, she doesn't say she has any other kids. She's one baby. One! So, should the person who stays at home, let's say he stayed at home with the baby and she went back to work, by the way. You can put it that way as well. It doesn't make any difference, really. I'm sure the physical aspect of it is sorted out at this stage. The question is, should she be doing a bit of housework? Or if he was staying at home, should he be doing a bit of housework and cleaning the place up? Is that too much to expect? I mean, is he right? Is she being lazy? Or is she right? And is he being unreasonable and massively unfair, as she says? The question, quite simply, is she right? And minding a baby is a full-time job in itself. Reminds me of that famous line that we used to play from The Teachers. Do you remember that? Teachers are on stage 23 hours a week. Do you remember that famous line about the teachers' union? They made themselves out to be heroes. Teachers are on stage 23 hours a week. Oh, the violin is out. Text 087 188 0008. 087 188 0008. And I'm asking, is it fair that the person that stays at home should do a little bit of work around the house? The house shouldn't be like a pigsty when you get home. It's fair to say. I mean, it's only one baby. It's not a clutter of them. The number is 087 188 0008. Should she be doing more housework? Sharon, you're in Ireland's Classic Hits. How you doing, Sharon?
I'm good, Niall. How are you?
I'm good, Sharon.
I'm on the spot right now.
You're on the spot?
I feel I'm on the spot right now. I was all in the camp for the mom and the baby.
Oh,
but
that's okay. Don't change your mind.
I'm not changing my mind. Okay.
Okay.
It just does depend, doesn't it, on whether the woman is naturally house proud, or she could be the other end of the scale and she could be a total slob. Now, I'm just saying it like it is.
Okay.
There are opposite ends of the scale.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You kind of hope that it lands somewhere in the middle. And if there's a difficult few weeks with the baby, if it's...
Baby's doing a lot of crying by the sounds of it.
Yeah. So if it's a colicky baby or there's anything going on with the baby, yeah, sure that the husband helps out a bit, that they just juggle it between them. But yeah, he is going out to
But
work.
they are juggling it between them. They're juggling life between them. He's going to work, making a buck.
And usually there's family, there's some, it's always good to have your family close by when you have a baby, because they can help out so much,
But here's the thing, right? I've had 3, well, I didn't personally have them, obviously, but I've had 3 of them, right? And when you have a baby, don't get me wrong, nobody gives you a book on how to look after it or anything like that. It's just, there you go, you have a baby, now off you go and look after it, right? And they're not easy. A couple of weeks in, you get the kind of hang of it, the gist, right? Okay, sometimes some can be difficult and don't sleep, others can sleep all day, it's great. So, but it's not a full-time job. I mean, there is time out.
Well, the baby does sleep. I mean, my husband used to say to me, sleep when the baby sleeps, but I didn't. When the baby went to sleep, I'd have the washing machine on and I'd have all the bits of things done, that I might be able to get to when they're awake.
There you go. See, Sharon? Because you were house proud and you wanted to get things done, and then your hubby would come home from work. Is that the way it was?
Yeah. Exactly.
And
he was very good. He used to do the night feeds, because he was doing shift work.
Yeah, I did that too when I was working at the nightclubs at the time. So I would have been coming home at 3 or 4 in the morning. So that suited the situation perfectly.
Handy for that situation.
But still, you would expect, if he's the only one working, and I say working loosely because she's working too. She's working in the home. I mean, her only chore is not just feeding the baby. Like, she doesn't even mention breastfeeding here, so it's not like a lot of time is being taken up, because I know that can take up quite a substantial amount of time if it's a difficult baby, breastfeeding, but she doesn't even mention that. Like, she does say that one night she went out to a restaurant with her mates and he looked after the baby. When she came in, he was putting up a playpen or a baby gate, and the baby was crying in the background, the playpen. But he was getting it done, because that's what blokes do.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there are times you just have to ignore the crying.
Yeah, the playpen is a great thing.
Yeah.
Some people don't use them, and I don't understand it, because, I've been in other houses and I've said, God, why don't you, get a little playpen set up? Because the baby learns to be on its own for a little while.
Yeah.
And, short time is no problem. You can go back and reassure them, go off and come back again. But, the baby is safe in there, and you can get your little bits and pieces done.
Research, there was research actually recently that said babies that spend a lot of time in playpens are more likely to end up in jail.
No, I don't believe that.
You're grand, don't believe it. I just made it up. I thought it was interesting.
I used to leave my gorgeous little girl in the playpen.
I'm joking. It's just that I used to be behind bars.
Oh, I get you.
It was a joke. It was a joke, Sharon. I just made it up.
Look, I'm curious, but you've always get me with jokes. You always.
Sorry, it wasn't really. It wasn't a funny one, really, was it? I just made it up. Anyway, yeah, but so, I mean, I just don't get it that she's not getting anything done. You know what I mean? I mean, hoover the floor, do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if it's that kind of situation, then yeah,
forget about
the case.
Forget about the little baby and the maternity leave and all that, right? And forget about the fact that it's a woman, because then it turns into a real sexist conversation, right? It could be either man or woman. Whoever has a better job stays in work. Whoever wants to stay at home and raise the children stays at home and raise the children, right? So a house husband be it, if that's the case, right? But the person staying at home to look after kids or raise children, is it not their job as well to do the housework at home? Is that not their part of their job?
Yeah, it is.
And then the husband, I know this sounds very traditional, but the husband comes home then, has his dinner, whatever, and at the weekends he cuts the grass.
Well, hopefully he does a few more little bits. There's some days I've got fibromyalgia now, and if I'm not up early, like Tom doesn't expect me to come down and do it. Like, if I'm having a bad morning, like somebody could be having a bad day with a baby, he'll just do it. He wouldn't just wait. He will just, mop the floor.
That fibromyalgia, by the way, I remember I went down a rabbit hole one night looking into fibromyalgia, about the doctor in Florida who come up with the name fibromyalgia, because it's one of those things that they just cannot explain or don't understand. It's just when there's something wrong, but yet they can find nothing. It's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been listening to people with long COVID, and a few of the symptoms sound a bit fibromyalgia-ish.
And it affects everybody slightly differently. How does it affect you?
Just pain can come in different parts of the body, at any time, and it can feel like
joint pain, is it?
It can feel, it could be,
Muscular?
not really. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
The first time I knew something wasn't right was that I felt like I'd done like a million squats in the gym, and I
Right.
hadn't even been to the gym. But I felt like I'd done loads of squats.
Okay.
And I said, what is this? You know,
And would you be healthy,
That would be
Sharon? Do you
wonderful.
consider yourself a healthy person?
Yeah, I had a very serious illness that turned into 2 or 3 different things, and I ended up with fibromyalgia.
Okay, and
after it.
have you had all
And
the
it was a viral
scans and
infection.
everything? And
Yes.
nothing.
Yes.
They can't find anything wrong.
Um,
But you know the pain is there, of course. I'm not doubting that for a minute.
yeah,
That tends to
yeah.
be
It
the
comes
case with
and goes.
fibromyalgia. They can never. It's very difficult to get to the root of the problem. I think a lot of people end up getting cortisone injections and stuff like that, and to try and take some of the pain away. The cortisone.
Well, you know what I take? I take turmeric.
right?
turmeric.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that definitely helps.
It works, does it? Okay.
It definitely helps. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a bit
huge
of advice
difference.
for the people out there. So we digress slightly. Getting back to who does the
Mm-hmm.
housework. And let me go to Joanna as well. Stay there, Sharon. Joanna, you're in Ireland's Classic Hits. How you doing, Joanna?
Hi, Niall. How are you?
Good, Joanna. Now, you know, when you're raising children, I know it's not an easy job, but if you've only got one, let's say, be you a man
Mm-hmm.
or a woman, and the other person's out at work, are you expected then to do the housework?
Well, I think it's a bit unfair, right? If the man is getting up at 6 in the morning and he's not coming home till 6 in the evening or till 7 in the evening, it's a bit unfair now for him to say, like, have you not got a nice dinner for me?
Oh.
Have you not got the house cleaned? I mean, I'm a very traditional person.
So your husband works, you stay at home and look after the kids. I know you've 4
Absolutely.
children, okay, which is
And
full-time job.
If I'm the type of person like if I know I have to do something the next day, I will cook the dinner the night before. Like I'll make a shepherd's pie or something like that.
Okay.
And then I'll just say, that's all ready. All you have to do is
Heat
shove
it
it
up.
in the oven for 40 minutes and it'll be brown.
Yeah.
And just dish it up.
Right.
And the house is always clean. I just think if a man is out all day working, I think, yeah, he shouldn't have to come in and start hitting the house or something like that. I don't think that's fair.
So, and
having
by the way,
said that
and
now-
let's not make it sexist. It could be either way. If the man is staying at home and the woman's at work, and same goes. Yeah.
Hang on, can I just try and higher the volume up my phone? Just give me a sec.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I can hear you much better now.
Okay, that's good. So it doesn't matter if it's man or woman, by the way. It depends on who's out at work and who's not. Yeah,
No.
yeah. Whoever stays at home.
I think it's a bit unfair. If the person, whether it's male or female, if they are the ones to decide to stay at home, they should keep the home in check. And they should have a warm cooked meal for that person that's coming in. I just think, I'm not being sexist, as you said, it's for male, female. I think, God love you after being at work all day. There's your dinner. House is nice and clean. The kids might be screaming upstairs and all that, but at least the house is clean. I mean, as I always say, I don't mind mess. I hate dirt.
Yes.
Dirt,
I mean, yeah,
I
there's a
can't
difference
tolerate.
between being untidy and dirty.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
I couldn't be dealing with dirty people now.
I
I can deal
couldn't be
deal with a bit of
oh,
untidiness,
you-
all right.
And you know what?
If people are
one
rushed.
lady. I don't want to say where I live or anything like that, but I have one lady beside me, and I don't know how she lives the way she does.
All right.
I mean,
Okay.
I nearly said to my husband, you should not just paint her wall. And he said, I
Right.
can't just paint someone's wall.
right.
I was
Okay,
like,
but let's
I
not go too much into your neighbours, right, for the moment.
I know, and
Okay.
I know, and
Okay,
and
so generally speaking, you can deal with untidiness, but you can't be dealing with dirt.
absolutely.
Yeah, so
And
in other words, you're out dusting every day and you're
Work.
hoovering and...
Do you know what? My day starts, right? I get up at 6:30 in the morning, get up, make the kids all their lunches. Now, they're off now for the summer. That's great.
So do you get
But
a
I've
lie
one
in now?
little-
Do you get a bit of a lie in?
My little boy, no, I don't get a lie in. Are you joking?
Right.
My little boy now is on a summer camp for the week, and he's in a special needs kind of program.
This is
So
your
they
little
can go
lad that's
on
in the
lovely-
this is the little lad that's in the wheelchair.
Yes.
Okay.
Niall, yes.
Okay.
And so he's going brilliant. Like they went to main home jail yesterday. They were on break today.
Right,
And
okay.
so I'm making a little packed lunch. But I always did that. Even though they don't like the school lunches. You know, they're like, Mom, I want you to make, the proper bread. The proper bread. I'm like, okay. So, and I make my husband his lunch as well, always. So I get up purposely, even though, I don't have to, but I do. I get up and I make their lunches. Saves money too.
Hey, listen to this, Sharon. Every house should have a Joanna.
And then, you know what?
Come to my house any day.
And when they come home, the house is spotless, the bedrooms are spotless, and
Beds are made.
A lovely, absolutely, and the dinner is made as well. And then see, kind of like about this time, I put Nile violin on again.
Right.
And then that usually puts me to sleep. No offence, I'm not saying that you're boring. I'm just saying.
Me too, Joanna. Me too. Love a bit of Niall going to bed.
Yeah, every woman likes a bit of Niall going to bed.
They're going to bed with you, Niall.
Yeah, I know. Half the female population of the country going to bed with me when I go on. I'm the biggest player in the country.
It's the only time I actually get into bed and I actually sit down and say, "Soothe now, Joanna, soothe. It's my time now." Till me alarm, I set my alarm down for the morning, and I have a little teeny weeny glass of wine or a little small brandy, whatever one, and then that be my nightcap, and then I'll just say, "Watch a bit of telly then after you," and then I'll just conk out and get up and fresh for the morning.
And it all starts again. Sharon, are you listening to this? This is what I'm talking to.
Yeah,
I think I deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a great girl.
So the point is that she, according to her email, Joanna would be more or less thinking that this girl, even though she has the baby 5 months old, should be doing a bit of housework.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could have a bad week or two and you might get a bit behind with things. But generally, it is possible to keep a house clean with a baby.
My washing machine's bloody going at the moment.
Well, I'd say with 4 kids and a husband that's on full time, it's probably going all day, isn't it?
My washing machine goes from 7:30 in the morning until now.
Yeah, I can well imagine. Hang on, let me go to Sinead because I don't think she can stay long. Sinead, you're an Ireland's Classic Hits. How you doing, Sinead?
Good, Niall. How are you?
Good. Now, you've got an 8-month-old.
I do, yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks a million.
Right, a boy or a girl?
Congratulations.
A girl.
Oh, they're hard work, let me tell you.
What? You're boys and girls? Boys
I tell you, look, I have 2 boys and a girl. Well, now they're all in their 20s
boys
now.
Boys are easier.
Boys are so much easier.
Absolutely.
I don't think 100%. So. My
100%.
girl's a gem, like.
Well, yeah, at the moment. Wait till she starts getting demanding. Anyway.
That's true if she's anything like her mother.
All right, okay. So, Sinead, I mean, okay, you can relate to this. Is that your first baby, by the way?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so you can absolutely relate to this woman in the email. So you think back 3 months ago when the baby was 5 months old. Were you staying at home?
I was, yeah. I was on maternity leave. I only came back to work there on the 2nd of May.
Perfect. You're the woman in the email. All right. So did you get to do a bit of hoovering, cleaning up, making beds?
Very minimal.
Oh, very minimal?
Yeah.
Right.
But my fiance, he helps around the house. Like he cleaned up and like I'm lucky we shared the chores.
Does he do it right? Does he do it right?
He probably puts everything under the rug.
If I put on the goggles, I don't see anything. So as far as I'm concerned, he did everything right.
So Sinead, I mean, I've been there. I've had 3 children. I vaguely remember when they were babies. Yeah, they can be a bit of work depending on the baby. Some babies sleep a bit more than others. And some are probably better than others at not moving around too much, etc., etc. But generally, you can get things done, can't you?
Yeah, maternity leave is there for, bonding with the kid. Like, if you have a good routine, like if they take a nap in the morning or in the afternoon, then that's your time to get your stuff done.
Yeah.
And you're blessed then if the baby sleeps through the night then, because you can get a full night's sleep.
And did your baby sleep through the night?
No, she only started sleeping during the night there from the last month onwards.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Joanna's talking again. What are you saying, Joanna?
No, when you know what they say, when babies sleep, you should sleep. My arse. When babies sleep to get things done.
Well, my middle child permanently slept. I would have never been awake. Sorry, Sinead. So, Sharon, there you go. Sinead she's the perfect example of what we're talking about here, but she says that, she can get a bit done, but not very much. And the fiancé helps around the house. What's his name, by the way, Sinead?
Jonathan.
Jonathan's a good man. He comes home. I'm assuming he's out at work, so is he?
No, he was out of work there for a while because he broke his collarbone, but he's back now. And
so was he out of work while you had the baby?
just for my last month of maternity leave.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sharon, Jonathan, good man, he's the fiancé, he's doing a bit of work around the house. Should he be, Sharon?
Well, if he was at home, if he was off, yes. But if he's at work a full day, no, he shouldn't really be doing much. I mean, a bit, but not you know.
So Sinead
not
tried
more.
No,
a bit
well, like he
harder.
cooks and I clean.
I love
Oh, well,
Sarah.
he cooks. Oh, well, that's good.
And I clean, so it's a fair deal.
Oh,
Like he does.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing. That's great if he cooks because that is, you know, getting a meal ready and everything.
Yeah.
He's definitely helping out then. And yeah, that's a good
It should be teamwork.
Sorry, Joanna?
It should be teamwork. If one decides
Yeah.
to stay home, that's fine. And if one decides to go to work, that's fine. It's a decision that you take upon yourself. And so, you know, one shouldn't be complaining about the other. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if you decide to stay home and bring up your baby, well then you take on the responsibility of the housework, the cooking, the cleaning and whatever. If that man, your husband, whatever, your partner, is being out from 7 a.m, coming home at 10 p.m, you can't
that's a
ask
long old
him to
job,
say,
isn't it?
oh, by the way, there's no dinner for you. Can you order out?
Oh, Sinead, did you ever have the dinner ready for him when he comes in from work?
No, he always does it after work. I'm lucky that way. Like,
Why, are you a crap cook?
no, it's just my time is taken up at Roisin, and then I'd be wrecked from work as well. Like,
Right, okay. Well, at the moment, obviously, it's different because you're back working again, so you have to both dig in now at the moment. And by the way, are you liking being back to work, or did you cry your eyes out the day you left the baby?
it hurt me a little bit, but I don't mind being back.
Okay, was it kind of good to
Get
get
a
some
full
human
lunch hour.
contact again, yeah? It was nice to get some adult contact again, was it?
Yeah, oh God, yeah.
Okay,
You have
okay.
to drink a full cup of tea.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to leave it down and run off.
Or to be, you know what the best thing? To be able to actually go to the toilet without bringing the baby with you.
I know,
to
yeah.
actually sit down on the toilet on your own without having a baby in a little rocker staring at you.
I've only started doing that recently, actually, because she's kind of starting to crawl now a little bit.
Right, okay. So
I have to bring her with me.
You you bring them with you, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
And you just turn them around, face the wall there. It'd be grand. It'd be grand.
Look.
Okay, so, I mean, because I'm looking at this email and she's in your situation tonight, or the situation you were in 3 months ago, and she's given out that he's been unfair to her because he's given out to her when he comes home, the hoovering is not done and, you know, the chores around the house are not done. Is he being a bit unfair on her?
I think so. Like, they just had a newborn. Like, it's really hard. It really is hard. And especially if you're breastfeeding, then, like, they have to sit under you 24/7. There's no ifs and buts about it. But then again, like, a house is meant to be lived in. So who cares if it's clean or dirty or whatever? Like, if he's really that bothered about it, he should pick up a broom and start sweeping.
There you go.
No, not after being at work all day. I don't think that's fair.
Well, I do
I
10,
don't
12
think
hour
that's fair.
shifts, and I'm coming home to my baby. I'm getting up for the feeds as
I
well,
don't
and
think
I'm
that's
cleaning
fair.
as well.
I don't think that's fair. And I've been there. I've had 4 children and one has needs. And I swear to God, my husband comes home from work. This house is spotless. My child is well cared for. And I've a dinner made in the oven.
Okay,
And
are you working as well?
No, I'm
No, that's her
I
job.
told you my child has needs, so I
Yeah.
care for my son.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, but the point is, I am talking about Sinead. I'm not talking about your situation now because
I
you're obviously
wouldn't
working.
expect my husband to come home after working from 9 to 5. Just say that as a cliche, 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5, you know. And probably more than that.
You wouldn't expect him to come home on an empty belly and have to make his own dinner. I think, Sinead, she's referring to the time when you were at home and not back in work. That she would
when
expect
I
you
was
to have
at
his
home,
dinner made.
I would have, will it be on the hob, or else like my mother-in-law would come down and take Roisin so I could actually cook it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm back to work, he's cooking and cleaning and everything else in the garden and stuff like that.
Sharon, did you have children, by the way? I'm not sure if I've asked that before. Did you have children? How many did you
I
have?
had one bouncing baby girl.
Right, okay.
I did.
And how old is your bouncing baby girl now?
26 next week.
All right, okay. So can you remember that far back?
Oh, God, I can, because she was just the one. And only I remember everything. Yeah,
And
I do.
was it a minefield at the time? I mean, did you think you...
It was beautiful, no. It was beautiful.
Yeah, you look back, and you know what, Sinead? I say this to you now as a word of advice, right? And I always say this to people. My kids are now all over 20 years of age. And I look back at those times when they took their first steps, or my daughter would sit in the, the thing where she used to eat her dinner, what they call the high chair.
The high chair, yeah.
And she would fall asleep with her face into the food. And because she constantly fell asleep all the time while she was eating. I don't know what it was. When you used to feed her, she'd fall asleep. Yeah, halfway through, the spoon would be in the mouth, and she'd be falling asleep, face in the food. But value every single one of those. At the time, you might think it's irritating and annoying. And the funniest thing ever was my son was a very difficult eater. He's 25 now. I'm embarrassing the life out of him by even talking about this. But he wouldn't eat for me, right? And so what I used to have to do was, people would have thought I was nuts if they'd looked in the window. I used to get the electric drill out. And I used to go... and because he was so obsessed with it, right? He loved the electric drill. He would sit there with his mouth open looking at it, and I just shoved the food in his mouth. It's a true story. But when I think back for all those moments, I would do them all again. Because when they're grown up, you lose all those. They're all gone.
It's in your heart, Niall. It's all stored in your heart.
Absolutely.
See how you remembered it there? You just took it out. It's like a beautiful little box that you put away, and you can take those memories out any time.
So you remember Roisin's little moments, Sinead. Even if they annoy the shite out of you at the moment, remember them, because when she gets older, you'll want them all back again.
Exactly. All you need is a bit of patience.
Well, that's it, really. You know what I mean? Well, the worst was my other son. I remember going into his cot one morning. He was only about 1. And I swear to God, I thought he'd been murdered. There was blood everywhere.
Oh my God.
Blood everywhere. It was all over his face. It was all over his baby grow. It was all over the wallpaper. He had got a nosebleed in the middle of the night. And I don't know what he did.
Frightening.
But it went everywhere. But it looked like a murder scene. I've never seen that like it in my life.
Oh my God.
Be terrified. What the hell? But they're lovely moments, and you remember them all. Anyway, getting back to the housework. Sinead, so do you think this husband, he's been really unfair?
I do, yeah. I mean, like, she's just given birth to her child, like, and to, for him to expect her to have the house pristine condition is just, no.
I mean, reasonably
Pristine is
tidy.
a bit much. Pristine is a bit much, but look, maybe they could get together and he could say, look, I hate dishes in the sink. If the dishes could be just done in the sink. Everybody has a bugbear,
Yeah.
They don't go around looking for it to be pristine, but there are some things that really annoy people, like when they come in. So there might be just that one little thing that annoys them. And, if it was a case of no dishes on the draining board or when the floor swept, whatever it was,
Do people
or the
still have dishes on
clean.
draining boards? Just get a dishwasher.
Then all
I
again, all
hate
they need to do
dishwasher.
is sit down and have a bit of communication, open chat, like.
Yeah.
They can't do that, then write it down in a letter and go, here, read this.
Yeah.
Maybe, that might help too.
I know you mentioned too, if women are breastfeeding, that can take up a huge amount of time, particularly if the child is a slow
It
feeder.
does take up more time.
Yeah, you end up sitting there for an hour waiting for the child to feed.
Yeah.
Angela, we'll stay there for a second, because Angela, you're in Ireland's Classic Hits. You're kind of fuming. What are you fuming about? What are you giving out about? Jesus, angry
we're
people
all in
coming on the
trouble
air.
now.
Yeah.
I heard in kind of on little bits on it. So like she kind of, when I rang in or whatever, she filled me in on what the original email was.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know the two women here now that are talking to you who's actually for the guy that's given out of the house.
Joanna, she's gone
story?
now, but very few people seem to be for him. But go on.
Disgusted. Like I'm actually horrified.
Horrified. That's a very strong word.
It's because to be like my son now, he's 18, so like I went through it all. Like say I'm 37 now, but I had him, I was a single mother or whatever, met my partner now when he was 4 years of age. But say like that's probably like a huge part of why, do you know what I mean? Say there was a big clash or whatever, but like say that to me, and say like even now in this day and age, like say when I hear from other part, like it's a big thing now. That's actually why a lot of couples, it's a big shock to their system when they have a baby, because like things change big time. But like,
your life changes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a big battle of who does what and who's minding. Like, do you know what I mean? Like a lot of men think, it's all the mother has to.
No,
do that.
I mean, I think I made it clear from the start, even though the email suggests that it doesn't matter who.
Sorry, I didn't.
No, that's fine.
I wasn't fuming at you. I was fuming at the email.
Oh, okay. No, I know.
And I heard that lady saying
Well, here's the
whatever
thing. Okay,
she's arguing about.
let me get back to the email. So the
Yeah.
baby is 5 months old. A bit like Sinead's situation there 3 months ago. Now, Sinead's just gone back to work. Her baby's 8 months. Roisin, little Roisin.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the baby is 5 months old. She's at home on maternity leave. He's working full time. And he came home and the place is like a pigsty. It's not even cleaned up. She hasn't done any hoovering. She hasn't done nothing. And he's having a go with her. And she's saying, I don't have time to do anything.
Yeah.
Now, Angela, I understand both sides of it. Now, it wouldn't matter. I'm not being sexist. If it was a bloke that stayed at home to mind the baby and the woman went back to work again, I would equally say, he has a level of responsibility too.
Totally. But like, say he's noticing it for a reason. Say like that's obviously out of the norm. So number one, she's exhausted, or number two, is there something wrong there? Do you know what I mean? Is she...
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, say, if he's noticing it, there's obviously a reason for it.
Okay, yeah, so on a serious note,
So,
she could be suffering from postnatal depression.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Very good. That's a very good point.
Okay.
Yeah, because if she was always that way and that's naturally who they were, then he wouldn't even have, do you know what I mean, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But that's what he should be. It's more a case of like, number one, it's obviously out of character. So either she's really exhausted, run down, give her a hand, or number two, there's something else going on there. That's what's getting me mad.
Yeah, because it is quite common, postnatal depression. It can be quite common. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that he should pick up on that, or it's kind of like, do you know what I mean? Imagine someone coming home to you and you're going through all that. Like, and obviously it's a severe.
He told her she was lazy, by the way.
I give him I won't even say it on radio.
That was no need for that.
Yeah.
No, that's
Not
hard. It is. That's how it gets you mad. Like, I was even saying to the girl here that was putting me through to the station, I was like, listen, I have to be careful because I'll go viral. I could say something highly inappropriate.
I'll go viral.
I'm like, oh my God, I will. But
We'll keep the recorder on just in case she says something.
No, I'll get you a few views on TikTok or something. But
Angela, have you got kids yourself?
He's 18.
Okay.
He's 18.
Okay,
He'd
so
be mortified if I knew I was ringing you.
So can you remember when he was a little baby?
I had him when I was 19 years old,
of age.
Basically.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, so when he was born, of course, you don't get a book with him. And you're sent home. It's quite daunting, I imagine, for the first few weeks because you've no idea what to do or which end to look at. So, or which end to feed, or you're just looking at this thing, this human in front of you. So, but after a while, you kind of get the gist of it and the hang of it. And look, we are humans. It comes naturally to us eventually at some point. Yeah. But I mean, let's look 5 months in, if you can remember that far back, did you have time to yourself?
They definitely have it easier now. Like, they definitely have it easier now, say, than what it was back then.
In what respect?
In not saying, oh Jesus, I'm not taking away from the all-nighters and everything. I'm talking the simple things like the car seats. Like, to me, it's amazing when you see the car seat that flips towards the door and you pop the baby in.
All
and
right,
obviously that's if you can afford them things. But little things like that, or the little cot beside the bed and
the bottle warmers and the sterilisers
and
all the things that they have now.
Because back then, when I had my son, I was scraping by, like, or you'd be getting the basics. But but like, I can't imagine someone coming home saying, "Oh, you lazy" and whatever. I think I'd be on the news. Telling you now, I would.
You'd be on the news.
Because you're like a zombie, like you're floating and you're trying to survive, like, and even brushing your hair is a job.
Yeah. So you just get the time to do that.
Yeah.
I've lovely neighbours.
Not even the time. You have the time, it's the energy, like.
Yeah, sorry, Sharon. What are you trying to say there?
Sorry, Sharon.
Sorry.
It's okay. Angela's going to go viral in a second.
Two lovely children.
Yeah.
Before Angela goes viral. And there was a couple of weeks there where the kids were sick. And sure, like, same thing. They were going around wall falling, the parents. Like, it was hard to get, sleep.
Yeah.
So those things can happen and upset the apple cart. But it's all teamwork, isn't it? It's all teamwork.
Yeah.
Chipping in.
And I understand. But women primarily have been doing it for years, since time began. And we get through it. I mean, it's difficult. I often wonder if people knew exactly what it was like when you had children, would we bother having them? If they actually knew, because everybody warns you, your life will change, but nobody actually realises how bad that is until it actually happens. But if we actually knew, would we still have children?
Yeah.
Because it is life-changing.
Yeah. I definitely
for me,
have
my
my one. It was, I wouldn't be the same life. I would have hated not to have had the experience.
Yeah.
When I think about it, it's just been so enriching, you know?
Yeah.
And we're great friends.
It's perfect.
Yeah, and by the way, the latest research shows that men suffer from postnatal depression too.
Oh, of course they do. They have to take that as well.
Well, their life changes too.
And you know why? And we had the professor on the air not so long ago who was talking about it. He did the research. I think he was in UCD or somewhere like that. Anyway, or Trinity, I think it could have been. But anyway, he said the reason they suffer from postnatal depression, you listen to this, by the way, Sinead, just in case Jonathan, poor Jonathan is
He's listening in the kitchen.
Yeah, the reason is because they have a feeling of uselessness. They have a feeling of uselessness.
About time.
That when they're standing...
just make them feel useful. Make them feel useful from the very beginning. Give them that baby, give them the bottle and whatever, and let them get stuck in. Yeah.
Like when that woman was saying, oh no, he's working all day, she should be doing this. I think that's crazy because I do believe, like even changing the nappies and all that, that's definitely, it's a part of the bonding for the father and the baby.
Oh, it is.
I changed the nappy, they'd piss in me face.
Yeah, but it does, like it bonds you without
that's
even
bonding,
realising.
is it? Okay. So, but Ruth
but
is
even with your nieces or nephews, do you know what I mean? Like say when you're babysitting them or you're minding them, that's totally, it's all bonds or it brings that whole, do you know what I mean, closeness or whatever.
I tell you now, my niece is now in her late 30s, right? She's 3 children of her own. And I go to her on a regular basis. And I always remind her about the time that I was babysitting her. I was only 16, 17 years of age. And my mother and father and my sister went out on New Year's Eve and left me minding her. She was only about 3 or 4 months old. And she had a cold. And I will never forget that night as long as I live. I cried. Oh, she never stops crying. I was crying. I was crying in unison with her. Please stop. There will be a murder in this house very shortly. And in those days, of course, it was very hard to get somebody on the phone. And they were out in the Alsa Club in Aer Lingus. And I was ringing the Alsa Club and saying, can you please just put me under? You need to come home. She'll be fine.
All diverted.
She's now in her late 30s, and I remind her all the time of the night that she put me through. But in saying that, I'm looking here, Ruth has put up my screen, pressure from social media and social media mams doesn't help these days. So much comparing to all these perfect mothers online. Yeah, and I've seen some of these perfect mothers.
But don't buy into that, Niall. If you're going to be stupid enough to buy into all that, then you deserve it. Don't buy into all that in the first place.
But even say, that, you know, the dads, like say the dads that are comparing and going to look at the house, they're probably comparing to their mothers, right? Say, who did not have the same expectations that we had, like say even appearance and, do you know what I mean, to be involved and everything, to be working. It's totally, that's what a lot of men are coming home and saying, like what you're saying, that email or whatever, I guarantee you, like say...
His mother probably...
He's probably comparing to his mum, who had no other... Do you know what I mean? Responsibilities, and she was just a mother, and that was it. And coming home, or like my
but if she's at home on maternity at that particular time, she is just being a mother, isn't she?
Yeah, but she doesn't have a job. Like that girl could have a job to go back to. She's trying to, do you know what I mean, get back to her weight. I'm saying it's different nowadays. The pressure.
Well, that's another big problem, is that obsession at the moment.
He's compared to his mother, who was doing nothing, like, and not doing nothing, but then like, who was just, do you know what I mean, a mum, and that was her. She'd no full-time job and everything else going on. Whereas nowadays, the pressure is extreme, like.
Sinead, Sinead, are you still there?
I am, yeah.
As a young mother, and I'm assuming that you're on social media. Are you on social media?
I am, yeah.
Do you find there's a huge amount of pressure to be perfect? And I don't mean that in some sort of silly way, but you know, you see these perfect mothers, and they have the baby, and they literally have makeup on them in the bed while they're having the baby, and all this kind of, and everything is just perfect, and the baby is dressed perfectly, and never pukes, and never shits, and never does anything or cries. It's always laughing and smiling. Social media. Is there a huge amount of pressure? Does that put a kind of unrealistic expectation then on young mothers?
For me personally, no, because I just roll my eyes and go, whatever.
Yeah.
But other people are going to just be like, it would get to them emotionally and mentally, and they just get bogged down, and they're like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to pull myself back up if I'm looking at social media every day? Like, it just destroys your brain.
Mm-hmm.
But in saying that, I was on Facebook during the week, and there's some mother over in the UK, and she has £1,000 dodie for her son. She bats him in, oat and honey milk. Like, she spends ridiculous amounts of money on her son, like.
Right.
It's bananas.
Yeah, I know.
You see-
I remember seeing this program one night where the family, they put this gold stuff in their food, right? It's like a gold flake, and they pay thousands like for a bottle of this. And this is the truth. Sorry to be rude, but it makes their shit gold.
Oh, for God's sake.
Are they going to sell it?
All now.
It comes out.
now.
It comes out gold coloured.
My child used to swallow tin foil. It came out silver. It was great.
It's true.
Not more expensive than the gold.
It's actually a true story. They put this gold powdery flake stuff in. It's actually 18-karat gold they shake it into their food like salt, and their poo comes out gold.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Probably into their gold
Something
toilet
very
as well.
wrong there, Niall.
Yeah.
Something very wrong
There
there.
is, isn't there? There's people in the world starving for Jesus' sake. That's my father would always say. There's people in the world starving, Noel.
No, but that is warped.
That's true.
Yeah, well, I see. I mean, I think there's huge pressure on women, even without babies. There's huge pressure on women, and I do feel sorry for women in that sense. because-
It's different now, definitely, because maybe that girl Sinead is not pressure, but I have friends definitely, or say in the past, that would be like, do you know what I mean, comparing themselves. Oh, how come she lost all that weight? And
yeah, where's her
like-
tummy gone? Why can't I get mine back down? Yeah.
Do you know what's great though? Some of the teenagers now, okay, my daughter's 25, but I mean, she went through a stage. They all go through stages, but they come out of it, and you know, there's a certain cohort that aren't buying into all that social media stuff now. They're absolutely just dropping it, and you know, they're not doing it because they're fully aware. They weren't aware at the beginning because it was all new, but now there's more awareness, and they're going, you know, I'll do my mindfulness meditation instead.
Yeah. But I'm also talking about the body image aspect of it as well. I mean, when you look at, you know, these idiots that are online, the likes of the Kardashians and all these clowns that are online, and you know, they have their babies, but they don't have their babies the regular way, of course. They're too posh to push. And, you know, and all of a sudden they look like, you know, catwalk models 2 weeks later again. You know, they're back out on the beach again. I mean, that must put huge pressure on young girls having children. I'm not saying, I think most young girls are probably realistic and know that doesn't really happen in real life.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
those Kardashians are
But
responsible
some
for an
girls
awful
are
lot.
naturally like they definitely compare it themselves. Like obviously, there's some girls who are naturally like that, but it's not everyone. And some people obsess and like say Photoshop. Obviously, then is another thing.
Oh yeah, Photoshop to get rid of the stretch marks. You know what I mean? I mean, you're not going to see a stretch mark on a Kardashian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, and unfortunately, that it's really unfair. I find it, and you know, I find women are guilty of it. Women judge each other. It's not men judging women generally. It's women judging each other.
No, but Keith, the reality is the reason I think and I think the reason with Joan, you're saying it's not men, it's women, because men judge us, so we're turning on each other and we're have the pressure.
Give me an example of when you say men judge you. What, they're judging your body or judging you how you look?
I don't think men are that judgy. I think it's more women with other women.
Yeah,
that's true.
Oh no, and I'm not saying women don't, but I definitely think men do as well. Like I'm not going to deny that 100%. Like say stretch mark. Like I've got like, do you know what I mean? Brothers-in-law, a lot of male friends I've worked with. Like I was a bouncer for years.
Okay, you were a bouncer.
Yeah.
A good girl.
I don't want to give away my identity too much. And now I'm a wedding photographer, but I definitely think, definitely men do, yeah.
I remember years ago, I worked in the nightclub industry, and I worked at one of the first female bouncers in the Harp Bar in O'Connell Street. And Jesus, she'd knock the shite out of you. She was unbelievable, this girl. She would put you straight out the door.
I'm small, but my bark is worse.
Your bark is worse. Get out of that cubicle now! The pair of you.
But I think, guys can be very judgmental. Like, it's not just like, say, I disagree with that whole thing about women are always judged. Like, I get there are women like that, I think, that are insecure. But I definitely think a lot of that stems from men.